There's so much information on social media, you could get so confused. What makes you healthy? It's actually very simple. There's only 6 things you need to do, and they're not that hard to do to improve your health in dramatic ways. We're going to talk about them today. Let's go.
6 sounds like a lot, though.
They're easy steps.
It sounds like
I know,
a
it sounds
lot.
like a ton. There's 60
No big
steps.
deal. There's
Never
only
talked about
72
these
steps you
before.
got to do. Really
Now,
easy.
as we get into these,
They're pretty basic.
And now here's the deal. Okay, so we're talking about like just overall good health, overall, decent body composition, mobility, longevity. Now, what this is going to highlight, by the way, because as I go through these, they're going to sound like that's not that much. What this highlights isn't that these are magical so much as it's that our normal modern lifestyle is so bad, the bar's real low. So you don't have to do that much to dramatically improve your health. And this is all backed by data. And the data on what I'm about to say shows that doing these things will give you like 80% of the max results you can get for longevity. In other words, the other 20% is all the detail. So 80% is going to be.
Do you think it's because the bar is so low, or is it just it really doesn't take that much to be healthy? I don't think it's necessarily that the bar is so low. I think that sometimes we overcomplicate what it takes to stay, and or we're always using extreme fitness as the.
That's right.
And so when people look at that, it's like, but that's not an example.
Yeah, we always stray away from the basics.
No,
I just feel like that's part of the culture.
No, so again, I'll go with the first step, which is to walk 8,000 steps a day. So now, why 8,000? What they find, and this is true for all the steps we're going to talk about. If you were to look at like you at your worst health versus you at your absolute best optimal performance and health, 80% of that can be accomplished by doing the following. So in other words, 80% of the benefits of walking will get accomplished with 8,000 steps a day. Now, more than that, you'll start to squeeze out more and more benefits, but you can get 80% of the benefits from just 8,000 steps a day. That's it.
Not only that, but the last 20% you risk tipping over the other direction too. So it's like you could do 20%, or you could do more, potentially squeeze out another 20%. But then you also flirt with the, that's too much. Now I'm going the other way too. Right.
And it's also about the consistency. 8,000 steps a day is for most people realistic. Mm-hmm. For most people, you can do that realistically. If I said 12,000 steps or 15,000 steps, okay, you might get another 15%. benefit, but now you're almost doubling or 50% or more than what I had just said. And the sustainability of that 8,000 steps a day is, how much would you need to walk, Adam, time wise for that? Because you tracked steps quite a bit.
8,000 steps?
Yeah.
Total in the day?
Like if I went on an hour walk, what would I get?
That's not enough.
No, not enough to get 8, but what would I get in an hour walk?
45 or so.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And that's for the whole day.
Yeah.
So this could be accomplished, in my experience, by simply watching your steps, tracking your steps. Then you can kind of see where you're at throughout the day and hit that 8,000. But 80% of all the benefits you'll get from walking, which is that right there.
I'm sure a lot of that too is just consciously not sitting. And as you're standing around and kind of moving, that was always the one that surprised me the most was when I was just like fidgeting around and like cleaning the house up or being outside and just the non-exercise type activity, or not even consciously walking, just like moving a lot more. I got a lot more steps.
So it was one of you two who brought up, I think somebody was talking shit on YouTube about me or whatever, about not working out again. Is that I'm not working out again or like that? So this was like in the back of my head, right? It was right before I left, and we took off for a trip, and I didn't work out again. But there's the biggest difference I know about myself today versus say 20 years ago, first really being introduced to fitness, is that I'm very aware of all the things that you're talking about right now, and I just try to be mindful of it.
You do those.
For example, I knew I probably wasn't going to work out on this trip, but I was at the airport, and I got to the airport like 2-3 hours. You guys know I'm always
typical.
At the airport. Yeah, right. I'm at the airport. And so I'm by myself. So I put my headphones in and I walked the whole time, just casually, just moving up and down. And then when I ate from the airport, the food choice that I had was like a chicken rice bowl. It's like, so what I have found that works really well for me is to just not allow the hard swings. So there's going to be times in my life when the strength training frequency is lower and I'm not optimal buff version of me. But so long as I don't go way overboard on the eating, I'm mindful of activity and checking the boxes around the other that make me healthy, sleep and water, all the other things. I really don't go that far back. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so that to me has been the biggest hack or improvement or thing that I've honed in as I've gotten older. Because it used to be real extreme swings.
Yeah, either all or nothing.
Yeah.
That's where I think a lot of people make mistakes. And I think that, I know this, that social media will communicate more often to the extreme than it will to the, this is realistic and this is actually what's going to get you a decent amount of the way there. Like, this isn't sexy. 8,000 steps a day is not sexy. Sexy is like, hiking twice a day or doing crazy stuff, right? So this is going to give you by the way, this is why people who live in cities that encourage walking just are typically healthier.
Yeah.
This is the main reason why. They just walk more. There's certain cities you live in where driving is so inconvenient. Like I have family that lives in San Francisco and they don't even own cars because it doesn't make any sense.
It's pointless, yeah.
And they end up walking a lot throughout the day. Everybody loses weight when they go over there.
Is San Francisco considered a healthier city? I've never actually looked at that before.
People, any city that encourages lots of walking, you tend to see a lower BMI.
I mean, honestly, when you walk around San Francisco, you don't see a lot of really obese people. No. I don't.
No.
You don't see a lot of that.
You see a lot of creatures, but no.
Yeah, you see a lot of different stuff for sure. But really, really overweight people, you don't see as much.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to where they rank. Doug, are you done searching your other stuff over
now,
there?
What are you looking at?
I'm typing about San Francisco.
Okay. All right. Now, as he looks that up, you mentioned strength training.
Yeah.
Here's the data on strength training, everyone. Most of the results you'll get from strength training, like 75 to 80% of the results, is from 1 day a week. 1 day a week of strength training.
Yeah.
Now, the other 20% would be 2-3 days a week, 4 days a week. But if the average person consistently did a full body workout once a week, they would get most of the results you could get.
Healthy city, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
Healthiest in America, according to this.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I've never really thought about it till you brought this up right now. But you were talking about it, and I'm like, you know what? Like, when I think of, somewhere like it wasn't that long ago. I was in Florida, and I went to Disney World, and I was like,
oh yeah, that's
I
another
have
level.
never seen so many scooters and people really,
Rascal
really
City.
overweight. And I remember being there going like, God, when was the last time I seen this many? And the opposite is true in San Francisco. I think back of I was just not there that long ago and walking around. I'm like, you know what? I can't picture a really obese person that I saw.
One of the
those
contributing
scooters could do those hills very well.
Yeah, you're probably right.
One of the contributing factors to poor health, because if you were to look at like the top reasons why health has declined so much over a period of time, is one of them is obviously our diet. So, and we'll get to some of that. The other one is that we've designed cities to make them inconvenient to walk. So we designed lots of suburban. So we have suburban areas, and then you have to go somewhere far away to work or go somewhere to go shopping, grocery shopping. Old cities weren't designed that way. Old cities were designed where you walked everywhere. And so when people live in those types of cities, it's inconvenient to drive. They end up walking a whole lot more, and they're more fit as a result. And then the strength training, once a week. By the way, all really good experienced trainers know this. If you've trained for 15 years and you work with a lot of everyday average people, you know this. 1 day a week. If they show up 1 day a week consistently for years, they're going to get a bulk of the results that you can get.
Especially if they check all the other boxes you're going to talk about. If you by itself, paired with shit sleep, shit diet, all the other stuff like that. And to me, that's actually why there is this people that are probably going, no, 1 day a week is no bullshit. That's not enough. Or I trained 2 days a week and I never saw good results. Problem is they're focused on that. And then they're letting all these other things, and then it's 1 day a week isn't doing much.
Well, here's the thing. I'll make this case right here. Go ahead and have a terrible diet and, none of this stuff. Now, so long as it's not absolutely in the horrible, extreme case. But fine, you don't watch anything else, but all you do is strength train once a week. You're going to get stronger. You're going to build muscle.
Yeah.
You're going to get a significant percentage of the effects that strength training provides, which is going to be strength, mobility, functionality, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I had lots of clients like that. I had lots of clients who they just weren't ready to tackle their diet.
Oh, I had clients straight up hire me and tell me that.
I'm not changing my diet.
Yeah. I'm going to drink. I'm going to eat. I'm going to do those things like that. I know that I could be in better shape, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here for you to teach me how to lift weights. And I know the benefits of being strong and having muscle. And that's all I care about. I'm like, okay.
No, it's
Better than not. Yeah.
It's funny when you look at the studies on strength training, 1 day a week, it gives you a bulk of the results. 2 days a week gives you a little more. And then every successive, each successive increase in frequency gives you even less and less and less in terms of results. So 2 days a week is definitely better than 1 day a week, but 1 day a week gives you most of the results. Add a third day a week, you get a little bit more. 4 days a week, a tiny bit more. 5 days a week, you're squeezing out of the 2%. So it's really the 1 day a week for most people is going to give them, again, most of the results they're looking for with strength training. It doesn't take that much.
It goes a lot further than people realize.
That's right.
That's what we continually learn.
Especially too, if you keep that statistic in mind and go, man, just don't fall off for longer than, as long as I come back and get at least a workout it's not a huge failure. Because I know that as a younger lifter, I would do that to myself. Oh, well, I've got this coming up and that coming up. At best, I'll be able to get one workout in over the next week or two where I'll forget it then versus, I'll go get it. I'll get my workout in. Maybe I don't work out for another week or so, but that's okay because you get tremendous benefit.
By the way, this is just like one of the components to being a successful trainer is understanding this, because one of the reasons why I had clients, there are lots of reasons, but one of the reasons why I had clients that stayed with me for 10 years is to have them train with me once a week. It was affordable, and they were able to stay consistent. When I would convince people to train with me more, like 3 days a week, 4 days a week, the fall off rate was so much higher. Yeah. So 1 day a week strength training, that's it.
Yeah.
Next, just don't eat processed foods, or try not to eat out much. Stay away from those things, and your food intake starts to fall in a more appropriate level when it comes to calories and nutrients and all those things. And it's not about even as much seeking out certain foods. That's important, but it's really just avoid the foods that make you overeat, and processed foods do that. So if you just didn't do that, most people, their body fat percentage drops down within a reasonable percentage simply from doing that alone.
Yeah, those are those natural limiters that are already there if you're eating whole foods. And so it's just like, it has a nice effect of just naturally bringing those calorie amounts down.
100%. And my clients on average would lose, just from this was always the first step I did with diet, and then we would add things later. But most people lost between 10 to 15 pounds from this. Like we didn't do anything else, just this alone.
I find, so I was thinking about this also this weekend because there's times flying, I have beef jerky, I had a protein bar, there's stuff that I'm eating that I know is highly processed, right? And I don't know if this is simplifying it or making it more, it's probably more complicated for the average person. So I think the general rule of processed food is probably easier for the average person. For me, it's actually just paying attention to my digestion, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, there's times where I step out of bounds and then I notice it. My digestion.
Feedback right
there.
I
get, and it's like, and it's okay if I allow that, but don't spiral out. Don't keep going down that, like pushing those, because to me, it's like, so long as I get it back, recalibrate it and get back, or it's like, I knew, like we were up in Reno and it was late when we got there. And in fact, there's this like homemade like brick stone type pizza that we can have every once in a while. And it actually, I can have a couple pieces and it's fine. Well, they weren't open. Everything else was closed. And so my sister recommends this other place. And it was like 2 slices in. And I was so hungry. She was like starving. I wanted so much more food. And I looked at Katrina. I'm like, oh, this sucks because I'm so hungry right now. And this is just tearing me up.
Yeah.
And there was a part of me, I went back and had another 2 slices. I'm like, what am I doing? And I was still hungry even after that because I hadn't eaten all day. And I'm like, I can't do this. And it's like, I had that moment of young me would have just kept pushing through this and just kept going and eating beyond what I need because I'm telling myself I'm so hungry. But it's like reining that back in, and then knowing the very next day it was like Katrina had made breakfast and we're back to our. And so again, if you're just paying attention to that and paying attention to how you feel from those things, and then recalibrating every time you do that, I feel even that keeps you.
It does, but a real easy first step, right, is just don't eat.
Yeah, would you say that's an easier step? That's my point of
it's so black and white. It's so black and white, I'd say, for most people. Yeah. It's just like, just don't. And by the way, the average American diet is about 60 to 70% processed. So a majority of the food people eat is processed. So if you switch 70% of your diet back to whole foods, there's going to be a profound impact in your caloric without even trying.
Convenience, and that's really just been the messaging forever for us, and like why we went into like microwaving and like everything about our lifestyle and everything was all just like pushing us towards convenience, and it doesn't have a great effect on our health, so we have to kind of abandon it.
Now, a little side note, by the way, which is funny. we have all this like time-saving stuff that we've done over time, and yet we have less time to ourselves than ever before. Isn't that interesting?
We're shortening our lifespan.
Well, we shove more things in there now, right? Yeah. I mean, they've done studies on that before.
Oh, huge studies.
The amount of things that you add in.
Oh, later I'll tell you guys about this great podcast I listened to that talked just about that. Today's program giveaway is MAPS Anabolic Advanced. If you want to win, leave a comment below this video. In the first 24 hours that we drop it, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comment section. We also have a sale this month. MAPS 15 Performance and the RGB Bundle, 50% off. If you're interested, go to mapsfitnessproducts.com and then use the code MAY50 for the discount. Back to the show. So next up, drink only water. That sounds silly, but don't drink anything else. Don't drink anything else. Now, a cup of coffee's fine, but don't have sodas, juices.
I don't like the taste of water.
Just water. By the way, if that's you, I'm gonna say this right
You've
now.
heard that, right?
That's bad.
Clients.
That means you're drinking a lot of shit, bro.
I was like,
if
what?
water tastes bad to you, you know that
Something's, that's not a good sign. By the way, my wife, so she explained this to me because she grew up this way, and she won't mind me talking about this. She grew up with, and their diet at home was not great at all. And she's like, all I drank was soda. That was what I drank. I didn't drink water.
Yikes.
And she said, I hated the taste of water. I had to actually acclimate to it. And I had clients like that would tell me that.
Oh, I've hung out with plenty of people, especially when I was in the Midwest, like Mountain Dew was a big thing. Like,
oh my God.
Literally all they drank was Mountain Dew. I was like, this is not good.
Yeah. All right, next up, 8 hours of sleep a night. Just target being in bed 8 hours before you need to wake up. This has profound impacts on health, hormones, and behaviors. So lack of sleep, poor sleep, you're far more likely to overeat. You're far less likely to be active. If you are active, you're not going to adapt as well to it. In other words, you're not going to build muscle as well, burn body fat as well. And the hormonal effects. Men alone, you can lower, by the way, guys listening, if you want to slam your testosterone down by over 25%, one night of bad sleep will do that. Yeah. One night of bad sleep will crush testosterone. So that's how big of a deal this one is.
Yeah, it's a good counter message to the I'll sleep when I'm dead.
So that was me when I was a kid.
Yeah. Cool. You're going to have no testosterone.
This is still the one that admittedly I struggle with the most consistency about. Yeah. Very aware of it. Pretty good about if I have a bad one, then I rein it back in. But I tend to do that a lot. I tend to push about. I know there are certain things that I should do to
your mind is you come up with a lot of good ideas late at night.
That's how I justify it, right? Which is, and I know is not ideal. But I've always found that that's my peaceful time when I know like someone like you who really likes the early morning before everyone's up. It's always been easier for me at nighttime, and so I wrestle with that a lot because I know that. And then I have these nights I tell Katrina, I'm like, man, God, I felt so good the sleep last night because we just got to our beds at 8:30. You know, even if we don't say we're going to sleep yet, just going to bed in your bed by 8:30 and shutting down electronics. You know, so what? You talk for an hour or so like that, and then you're like asleep by 9:30. Oh my God! And I wake up so well rested.
Great. And then lastly, supplements. Really, there's only 2 supplements that have really good data backing their health and longevity effects, and that's a multivitamin, and that's because it helps fill nutrient deficiencies. By the way, I just saw this the other day. I wish I saved it. There was a study done on fruits and vegetables comparing them to their nutrient levels today versus decades ago.
Oh, man.
I've seen that.
It's depressing.
Magnesium alone is something like 70% lower. Magnesium, 70% lower. Most nutrients are between 15 to 20-something% lower in our fruits and vegetables today versus, decades
all the stuff
ago.
we get from the soil, right?
That's all. It's just the degeneration of the soil, right? That's the reason. Because it doesn't even matter if you're organic or not. Like this, it still applies. Like the nutrients are extremely low.
And so, studies on multivitamins show that they seem to contribute to longevity. Nothing magical about vitamins and minerals, but when you're lacking one, or when they're not in optimal range, it is like magic when you replace them.
Well, what's crazy about that too is you don't realize it until you actually grow your own vegetables and fruit in your backyard, and then you taste the difference between that and like store-bought, and it's like night and day.
It is.
Look how bad sodium is.
Oh yeah, sodium's lower, potassium's
iron.
lower.
Look how bad iron has gone down.
Yep,
iron gone down by a quarter.
Yeah.
Calcium, that's a lot.
Yep.
God, that's a lot.
It sucks because then you eat healthy, quote unquote, nutrient dense food, but it's 50% less nutrient dense.
You're still lacking.
So you know what that means? That means you'd have to eat twice as many calories of them to get the same nutrients your grandparents
That
had,
ain't working.
which is now making you gain weight.
Multivitamins necessary at this point.
Yeah.
Now, when
absolutely.
you guys both look at your list that you wrote, where do you think that where do you struggle the most with the consistency you're on?
Oh, for all of those, it's typically, I would say, probably sleep. Probably sleep would be the most difficult. We try to prioritize it, but that's always the most challenging.
I see. I feel like you're pretty good about that.
Actually, no, I'll take it back. Walking. Walking is actually, because we come in here and spend so much time is sitting in our chairs, that when we're here, my steps suck. When I'm at home, I make it a point to do a lot of walking, going outside with the
Okay,
kids.
well that's good. So even though,
But it's not daily, because when we're in here, it sucks. You know that.
Yeah.
We'll do our daily 15-minute walk. That's about all I get all day long. So.
What about you, Justin?
I would say probably vegetables. Like I've kind of abandoned them for a while after like I went like full carnivore and then kind of was just like, I don't know. I went through this weird phase of like, I don't really see the point. And then was like deficient and then to bring it back in.
I don't see the point.
I mean, I never liked them. I just ate out of spite, you know? And so I'm like, yeah, I've definitely been consistent with multivitamins and, green juice and stuff like that to kind of supplement it. But I'm consciously making a more of an effort again, but it just is one of those things that never stuck.
Yeah, we should track our steps when we're in here. I'd like to see where we're at. What do you think we're at?
Oh, I know for sure where I was when there was periods of time. That's how I brought it up to you guys way back when a day, like when we just kind of podcast and do our thing and then you go home, you easily will step under 3,000 steps.
Oh my God.
Under 300,000.
Wow.
I had some as low as like 2,000.
Oh my
which
God.
was like, I could not think back to a time because it's been 20 something years that I've been like tracking, not every day consistently, but I've like,
you have a good idea.
I've always utilized tools. And let's put it this way. A year has never gone by and I didn't use a pedometer, Fitbit, Bodybug, some tool to kind of get an idea of where I'm at. And I remember when we were starting to record out of this studio, wearing the Fitbit, and I went, whoa, I don't think I've ever been like this. I mean, I think I was even more active back in my 20s when I was sick. You know, even being sick, I probably moved as much or more.
I took for granted how much we walked as trainers. When I was a trainer, I'm sure I was getting 15, 20,000
weights around.
That's all you do all day.
That's exactly what I used to get. So when I was when I was wearing it, being a personal trainer, I was averaging 15 to 20
without having to go for a walk.
Yeah, that's no trying to walk. That's no cardio. That's just moving with clients. Now, I probably, and I think you're probably like this too. I'm more of an active trainer.
Yes.
You know, some trainers just like sit still and like watch their client, and from one, I always moved around.
I was very shifty.
Yeah, talk with my hands, and you know, so
shifty trainer. This guy cracks me up, dude. The last supplement I'll say is creatine. Creatine's got lots of longevity benefits, between 5 to now some studies show 15 grams a day.
Did you see? Maybe you could look this up. Look up James Smith's Instagram. I want to see if he's done an update on this. So I guess James, I was talking to him DMs the other day. You know who James Smith is, right? So he got in some little spat with some creatine gummy company or something like that.
Really?
And so he took it upon himself to order like 10 of these. Because I think what happened, I think he made some sort of a video basically talking shit about creatine gummies, that they taste too good. They taste too good.
He thinks it's just gummy, really.
Yes. He's like,
a lot of them are like that.
Hey, bro. So he got, he did 10 of them, and he's going to do a video on the,
which ones have creatine?
Yeah. And he basically, he didn't tell what came out of it, but he's just like, oh, just you wait.
Oh, I can't wait. I tell you what, if you eat a gummy that says it has creatine in it and it doesn't have a little bit of graininess to it, there's no creatine.
Yes.
I love when people do quality control.
Now, what's cool is I know,
experiments
like I doubt he took any of the brand, Legion or Organifi, because I know we both know those founders very, very well. And they don't F around when it comes to like, you know, the efficacy of the supplement. So I feel confident that they will be okay. So I'm really curious to like who he went after, and but it sounds like of the 10, most of them did not have what they said they had.
I would
and I think
bet money.
some of them probably didn't have anything at all.
I would bet money.
So I can't wait to hear. I mean, that makes so much sense too, right? That this trend, it's blowing up right now. Like it just, we went from nobody having creatine gummies to like every company now is making creatine gummies, and some of them, and everybody knows in the supplement game, the key is taste. you know, and market it however you want, what's in it, but that doesn't really matter because nobody's regulating that. What really matters is taste, unless you have integrity, like Mike, like Drew, who have companies that they have a lot of integrity, but that means there's going to be a lot of charlatans that you ride the wave and probably will make millions of dollars along the way before they even get caught.
Nobody will even test.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
It's a nice pivot for gummy bears if they decide. Just relabel it.
That's right, dude.
No big deal.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. Look, I have a free guide that teaches you how to lose fat in 3 steps, just 3 steps that will burn the most amount of body fat and help keep it off. This guide is totally free. We're giving it to everybody right now. If you want it, click on the link at the top of the description below. All right, back to the show. I listened to part of a podcast this morning with 2 of what I consider to be the most brilliant minds I've ever listened to. It was Jordan Peterson interviewing Arthur Brooks, and both of them are just brilliant.
2 titans.
And Arthur, I love Arthur. He's
amazing
behavior right there.
He's just such a smart guy, but he's also just a great guy. I know him personally, a great guy. But anyway, the conversation was fascinating in the very beginning of this podcast. So,
is there a theme?
Well, I'm not quite sure where it's going. I think it's about happiness because that's his expertise. But they start out and Jordan asked him about, Arthur Brooks did a pilgrimage walk called the Camino, I think it's called. Maybe look it up in Spain.
What is that?
It's this really long trail that you do, and it goes from monastery to monastery to church, and it's a pilgrimage that Catholics will do. And what you do is you do the rosary and you pray the entire time. So he's like, well, why did you do this? Tell me all about this. So Arthur explains some interesting aspects of the brain. So like left hemisphere, right hemisphere. You've heard that before.
Sure.
Left side of the brain is really good. It's called the Camino de Santiago.
This is the creative side.
And how long is that, Doug? How long is that walk? Can you find that?
I'll find out.
It's a really long walk.
So left side's creative.
No, left side's logical and finds answers.
Oh, right side's creative?
Right side's. Yeah. Right side. So the way he broke it down, I took notes because I thought it was so interesting and so fascinating. And it made me think a little bit about how we're missing out on some of this just because of our modern life. So the right side asks big questions that you don't have answers to. Mm-hmm. So it's the big question thinking, like what's the meaning of life?
Yeah.
Why
it's the more esoteric.
Why am I doing this?
Why do I love this person? That kind of stuff. So it's like big questions. The left side deals with complicated problems, but once you find the answer, you can duplicate it. It's like algorithms and stuff like that. Complex problems are the right side of the brain. And the way you get the right side to and the left side takes over all the time. Yeah. Anytime you're on social media or you're figuring out engineering problems or day-to-day kind of issues, left side's taking over, which means the right side never really gets a chance to do what it does unless you're doing nothing. Literally, you have to be bored.
Yeah.
And being bored...
So we're not expressing that anymore.
No, and being bored is very painful. It sucks. Nobody likes being bored. And they've done studies on this, and I looked these studies up. They're fascinating. They took people and they had them sit in a room for 15 minutes with nothing except for a button that would shock you. So you could push this button and shock yourself. Most people would rather shock themselves than sit there and do nothing.
Shut up.
Animal studies show the same thing.
Hilarious.
People hate being just still and quiet. And they were going, and I didn't get into the depth.
That can't be true, Sal. Somebody sits in a room for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And do I know that button shocks me, or is it more like...
No, they tell you. If you push this, you'll get a little shock.
There's got to be a curiosity factor to that.
Oh, it's more than once.
Course.
It's not just, I'll do it again. No, and you can't talk.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, come on. Think about how interesting that is.
It's fascinating.
It's way fascinating. The fact that you know that it's not like you're going to get candy or you're going to get like a positive feedback thing. You're going to get shocked, which is, I would think, mostly negative. I mean,
also shows that we seek out negative, like,
sure.
Something. You just seek something.
I mean, that's a great, what a great point to that too. That shows that even though you know something is bad, isn't going to feel good, you're still drawn to it.
There it is right there. So
people would rather be electrically shocked than left alone.
Yep.
That is fascinating.
In a lab
crazy.
room. Yeah, it's for 15 minutes.
Well, this also
imagine being there for an hour.
So this explains behavior in children. To Justin's point, like where kids that, let's say a kid who doesn't get a lot of attention and love and stuff like that will many times act out and do things knowing he's going to get punished, knowing he's going to be in trouble for it, but they still do it anyways. I've always kind of been like, that doesn't make a lot of sense why we do that. But then
also, it's like where the line is, right? Like, how much can I tolerate is also kind of a weird thing that we see.
Yeah, I think that's more. That could be more complicated. Like they want attention. This is literally just about being bored,
right?
And so Arthur Brooks is saying,
weird.
When you want this side of your brain, when this side of the brain lights up and starts, and it allows you to start to contemplate like big questions, like importantly purpose and meaning and why this happens and why that happens, you have to do nothing. And he said it's so painful, people would rather shock themselves and distract themselves than just sit there. Now, what's the solution? Because he said getting people to just be bored is like good luck. It's very difficult. It's almost impossible. So he said one of the ways you could do this is by occupying the left side of the brain by doing something repetitive. So just walking without listening to anything, without doing anything, just walking allows you to kind of be in that boredom, right? And I can do that. I can just walk, just sitting and doing nothing. I'd rather shoot myself in the face, but walking. So what he did with this pilgrimage is like walking and doing the rosary, which is a repetitive prayer. You memorize it. And so you go through over and over and over again, allows you to contemplate those types of things.
Where else do we see that an example in maybe sports, or where else would somebody do something like that?
Well, I think in creative endeavors, writers and musicians do this often. They'll get writer's block, and what do? They just go for a walk.
They go for a walk. I know that.
Yeah, they smoke cigarettes. Just it's a repetitive process but it's a stimulant. So.
Yes. But I think it's really interesting. And what's interesting to me is I've never, in our lifetimes, we all grew up in the 90s, it's hard to be bored these days.
Very.
There's always a way.
If you have your phone, you won't be. I had this kind of debate with not debate, but this discussion with my sister and brother-in-law about this, where we're heading. And I was talking about the whole like Neuralink and going that direction. And like my brother-in-law was like just appalled by the idea, like, no way. And I'm like, well, where's your phone at? It's like in his hand, right? You know what I'm saying? As I'm saying this, and I'm like,
what's the difference?
Yeah. I said, what is really the only difference? Okay. That you've
appendage already
is that right now, when you have a question or you're trying to figure something out, you have to go to Google, type it in, search it. The difference with Neuralink is you're going to think it and then you're going to get that answer. And you've already justified carrying this everywhere you go, that you would turn back around leaving the house and go pick it up. Why is it such a leap? Yeah. It just sounds crazy and intrusive right now, and maybe unsafe. But it's like, really though, do you really think you're that far away from that?
Well, what I was thinking as I was listening to this is I was like, all right, I'm going to try in the times during the day, and I've talked about this before, but I'm going to make more of an effort. Times during the day when I would normally, historically, have nothing to do, like waiting in line, going to the bathroom, sitting at a light, whatever. Not do anything and see if I can just and see what happens. By the way, the reason why we hate it so much is when we go into that creative side of our brain, a little bit more negative affect tends to happen, and people don't like that. They don't like to contemplate some things because
like self-reflection.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So another thing he said, which was interesting to me, which he said, we are wired for progressing. We are not wired for arrival. So in order to feel good, we need to feel like we're always moving forward.
Yeah. Right. So there's no present.
We don't feel good by getting there. Just being there, like, oh, I'm here. I accomplished this thing. We all know how depressing.
Yeah, but what are you doing next?
Exactly. Yeah. Really interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I had a moment literally last night of like struggling and being aware that I was struggling with this. Last night. Max just went down to bed. Katrina's mom was spending the night, so she took him down, was kind of taking care of him. Katrina was straightening up in the house, everything like that. I was helping her, and we had just kind of finished, and she was getting ready to go up and shower. And I was like, I want to go sit outside. Like we haven't like really enjoyed the place by ourselves or had some moments, quiet time like that. And we've got this cool little area that is under the redwood trees, the little fire pit, and a little waterfall there. And then it's like facing all the lighting in the backyard. And it's off way far away from the house. And so it's really peaceful. And I went over there and sat down by myself, in the dark at like, I don't know, what is it, 9:30 or something like that, whatever it was. And multiple times caught myself wanting to check, Instagram or text message or something on my phone. And I'm like, the whole point of why I came over here was to just sit and just be present and enjoy the moment. And I found myself for a moment doing that, like, oh, so nice. And I had a little bit of gratitude. And then I still reached for my phone. And I remember going like, oh my God. Like,
isn't that crazy?
Yeah. It's like, there's a bit of that, we suck at being bored. Then there's also working against the addiction you already created. So it's like
there's tons of
it's a double-edged sword there. Yeah. It's not just that, because I feel like you probably easily, if our phones weren't a thing, that would be a very easy time to be very present, and because there wouldn't be.
That's the default.
Yes, exactly. The default.
Well, when we were kids, there wasn't anything on TV all the time. It was broadcast. You had only so many channels.
Yeah.
You didn't have a cell phone with you.
Yeah.
So if you're somewhere without those things, that's it. You're actually sitting there thinking.
This is also why.
Remember being at the bus stop? Yeah. What are you doing? You're thinking. Yeah. Waiting in line, you're thinking.
I don't have a phone to call anybody.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. So
this is also what I think that I've become so obsessed with driving. Doug and I had such a cool weekend this weekend, and I feel like part of this is like I don't have that choice. I could want all day long to want to look at my phone. You cannot when you're taking corners at those highest speeds. Like it's life or death. And so it forces you into the most ultimate present that you can be. And then for 90 minutes straight, you're like that. It's like, I mean, I can't count on my hand how many times I actually can say 90 minutes of 100% being present. Like, where else do you get the chance to do that? There's not a lot of other things in our life.
Did you guys do your track times and stuff like that with it?
So they don't do the track times there. It's not like the experience that we had. Yeah. Totally different. It was a million times better. In fact, since we did it, I've been trying to think of something else I've done in my life that I would say I enjoyed more than that. That's it. It ranked that high.
Wow.
It ranked that high. It was kind of funny though, because when Doug and I got there, he pointed something out right away, and we didn't know what to anticipate. We had no idea what to expect, really, because I had heard some people had done it and told me it was great and you'll love it. But then we're sitting there and we were way early and we're watching, and Doug and I are like, man, nobody seems to be going really fast. I don't see anyone going fast. And we're like, okay. And we know it's kind of like instructors are going to be with you and stuff. And then Doug points out, no one's wearing a helmet either. I went, oh shit, no one's wearing a helmet? I'm like, is this going to be like driver's ed for like 90 minutes? Like I literally was, and I don't want to get nagged out. Like, this was a gift from my wife, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, I'll just go open-minded and trying to tell myself like, well, good instruction would be good for me or like that. But inside I'm going like, that's not what I want to do today, And so, but then we get in and it's absolutely not that at all. I was actually blown away that you don't wear helmets. The fact that we don't, and in ours, when we did Vegas all together, you have a pro driver next to you, and he has his own set of brakes and stuff, and if he needs to take over, right? You don't have any of that. It's you by yourself in the car. I have a one-way radio, so he's talking to me.
You're by yourself.
You're by yourself.
Oh, that's sick.
And then you're trailing him. He's rolling in a Turbo S. And he basically tells you, we will go as fast as you possibly can. So if I see that I'm pulling on you, I'll let up a little bit so you can catch back up. But if you're pushing me, I will stretch you and I'll just keep going faster and faster. So I came out the gates right away because I was so disappointed in my last track session that we did.
Is that the one you got last place?
Yes, that's the one, dude. It's been bothering me for so long, dude. It's like, so in my head, I'm like, I am fucking around. You know what I'm saying? Like first corner, I spin out on the track because I threw up.
No.
Oh yeah, because I was like, I had already told myself, Adam, you are going to go all out. There's no holding back today, right? And so I spin out right away, and he's has to wait for me to get back on the track and everything like that, and he's basically telling me what I did wrong. But then you go, I mean, it's 90 minutes of.
That's a long time too.
Well, our 8 laps we did was 8 minutes.
Yeah.
So think about that for a second, and I bet we all
an eternity, dude.
I bet we all felt the similar. Like I don't know how you guys felt, but I felt like just the last lap 7 and 8.
Yeah.
I just got a taste for it.
I just started to get comfortable. It felt like, and it was over where This, when we stopped, I was exhausted, and I could already tell by the last couple laps, I was starting to get a little risky because I was getting lazy, and you can't be late. I mean, you have to be on everything the entire time, and so I was like, this was such a different experience. And if you were to rate me 1 being terrible, 10 I'm a great driver, I score myself a 2 or a 3 going in. But I walked out a 6 or a 7.
Wow.
You feel like you literally make that.
If you're spending that much time on there, you'll learn.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. And it's impressive that they can lead you like that while also watching you in the rearview mirror and coach.
There's a reason why there's a pro.
Oh,
like it always.
There's definitely levels to this.
It always shocks me whenever I'm with somebody who is an expert at something that I think isn't that big of a deal. I'm like, oh, this is a way.
Oh, totally.
It doesn't matter what it
you
is.
don't realize like the level of commitment and like what they've accomplished. It comes out totally
It
different.
doesn't matter what it is. It could be anything. It could be
You're
bowling.
right.
It
You're
could be
right.
throwing darts.
Especially
it
if
could
it's
be
something,
gardening.
especially when it's something that you think maybe you're moderately good at.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's very humbling when you have a moment like that and you're like, oh, I'm not good at
Did I
this.
ever tell you?
can't do that.
Did I ever tell you guys when I arm wrestled a pro arm wrestler years ago? So I as a kid, I always beat everybody arm. I just thought this thing, I never lost. I could never lose. I'll beat everybody. And this guy comes, a big dude though. He's a big guy. And I signed him up for a membership. I'm like, so what do you do for a living? He's like, oh, I do this. And I'm an arm wrestler. And one of my sales guys who knows, I always talk crap about it. He's like, oh, Sal says he's never lost before. And I'm cocky. And I arm wrestle this guy. He's like, you can arm wrestle me. And it was like there was a tree in front of me. It's what it felt like. I'm like, I couldn't move him at all. And he's like, oh, that's not bad. And he like kicks my ass. Like, oh, there's a whole nother level of,
It is. And we know that. And it's funny that it's like when you're reminded that, because we know that in sports, right? We like you.
But it's like that with everything.
But it is. It's like you
I gave up, man. I was like, I'm done.
If you're a pro or expert at anything, the level difference of anybody who's like passionate about it.
Yeah.
Like
That's why I'm not posting like guitar videos. It's just like, dude, I have too many people like I know like personally that would
pros.
shred my face off.
Oh, dude.
Like not even close.
That's funny. Anyway, so I'm gonna do a strange diet this week. Did I tell you guys about this?
No.
I'm gonna do the Paleovalley protein diet.
What?
I just created it.
I was gonna say, what is that?
No, man. So good news. My gut health has never been more resilient. So it doesn't get affected.
That's really bad news.
But what happens with that is because I've dealt with gut health issues for so long, it's like what I would use to gauge how I should eat. And when it feels okay, I'm like, yay, I'm going to eat everything. And so I've been eating.
Blasting out your wife?
I'm just having too much. That's you, dude.
I know, I'm projecting.
That's so Adele.
We were talking about that earlier.
Right now. Yeah, she's not happy with me.
Just blasted. Yeah, so I've been eating like too many foods I have intolerances to. They're not affecting my gut, but that doesn't mean they're not affecting me. And one of the effects that I get is I hold water. I just get kind of bloated. Yeah. So I've been eating like gluten here and there and dairy here and there. And so like last night, and my wife never comments on the way I look. In fact, all she ever tells me is you always look good, which I'm like, you're full of crap. There's times I look better and something. She's like, no, you always look good. I'm like, okay, whatever. But last night I go to sit down. She looks at me. She's got a funny look on her face. She's like, your face looks puffy. Like, why is your face puffy? And I'm like, thanks. I'm like, oh man.
Hey,
so I'm essentially going to fast most of the day for the whole week. Not because it's a great diet, everybody. I was just kidding. But because it just gets rid of water and it's allowing me to reset my gut. And I like their bone broth protein because it's super easy to digest. I have no reaction to it whatsoever. I can do a lot of it. And also bone broth is really healthy. At least the amino acids in it are, or the high amino acid content for certain amino acids are good for gut health. So I'm gonna be doing that twice a day. And
now
just
I'm assuming your idea of doing this for a week is more like a discipline thing, because if you
just to reset.
Yeah, but you would get that from a 2-day fast.
I would, but I don't want to do pure fast. I want to have the protein.
Okay, so you're like a fasting mimicking diet.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of like that.
Walter Longo.
Yeah, Dr. Walter Longo's
right.
Did that.
But remind the audience of what was found out. Basically, he found out in that study that eating
low enough calories.
Yeah, like 500 calories.
Yeah, and he would make sure they would get certain essential nutrients would elicit the same response as fasting. Mm-hmm. And this
all the benefits, right? Everybody talks about all these benefits from fasting.
And for him, he's showing the data for the things that fasting seems to be medically beneficial for, like going into chemo or cancer or other inflammatory issues, gut health, that kind of stuff. So So yeah, for like a week, I'll be doing this just to flush out all this water. So you blasted your wife for what, Justin?
I mean, it's not good.
What were you eating, bro?
He's on a bulk, bro, because he's trying to hit that 315.
Oh,
overhead
are
press.
you actually trying to bulk?
I am. I'm trying. My gut doesn't like it.
Well, you know why, Justin? Because
You're already fat.
Damn, I didn't realize.
yeah, you did. He tells you every day.
Yeah,
That's not why.
You guys have never said that.
It's because you're doing a dirty ball. You're just eating more.
Oh, I just eat more, but I mean, I'm not like, it's not like junk food or anything, but
What is it?
I'm adding like a shake with a ton of peanut butter in it. So the peanut butter is not doing me any favors.
How much
I think
peanut butter?
more of the dairy, because here's the thing, like to add more protein, like for me, you know, I'm definitely drawn to dairy, cheese and milk and all that kind of stuff. And I just think I'm overdoing it with that. And it's just,
Well, you can't do that because I don't want to see you not hit your PR because you're fucked up in your gut. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be a horrible reason not to.
No.
In pursuit of bulking an extra couple pounds, you're going to end up like hindering your performance or whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm trying to like be more reasonable about, I got to see if I could just raise my protein elsewhere and then add, you know, more carbs. Like carbs for me, I just don't really eat a lot of carbs.
Yeah.
And so that's been one thing. I'm like, I just need to do more carbs. I think more rice, more potato, more of that, you know, to fuel the workout.
Adam knows you so well, dude, because I realize what he does is he knows your personality so well. He knows how motivated you are by negative motivation.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't say to you,
Yeah.
because you guys worked together forever, long
Yeah, I
before the
know.
podcast.
I know, he's a fucker like that.
He never tells you you're doing a good job.
That's how I got #1 in the company a few times, because he just like he drills that button.
Justin's like, oh, I'm going to try hitting the 315 this week, and of course Adam's like, well, that's
like,
a lot more than last time.
We'll be happy if you
sure?
get like, you know.
Yeah. And at first I'm like, what are you doing? Are you negging him out? And I'm like, oh, I know what he's doing.
Yeah, I know.
He's getting Justin motivated.
It doesn't make me out. It's
What do you?
So
Did you see your weight? Your lifting weight. How much you weighed starting this and where you're at now?
I did, yeah. So I was like 225, and so now I'm 232.
Ooh, you're
Wow.
232 right now.
Wow. Well,
yeah.
yeah, look at him,
Heavyweight.
dude. Look at his delts.
Well, no, you look. I mean, Katrina's already commented that she thinks this is the most muscular and built he's ever looked right now. Yeah.
I think that's
I don't know if
that's
also
the illusion,
getting me
right?
going,
That's
you
the
know?
one where you get your shoulders bigger, and it definitely
No, you look bigger everywhere.
brings wideness. But that's
So your wife,
my
your wife's
chest a
talking
little
about how muscular he is right now.
yeah. I'm not sure if that has more to do with him or more like trying to tell me some shit. You know what I'm saying? That might be her subtle way of how to motivate me. He's like, Justin looks really good lately.
Whoa.
What?
What's going on?
What?
Yeah.
Dude, speaking of looking,
Curling
whatever,
all hard.
my wife cracks me up so much. So this weekend, we had a moment where I'm like, really? Are you really shocked by this? So we're in our bedroom, and she's going to take a shower. So she's like walking around naked a little bit. Mm-hmm. And then she's shocked
You try to get her.
when I go and like touch her and stuff. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, what do you mean, what am I doing? You're naked. Like, that's going to happen. If you're walking around naked, what do you think's going to happen to me?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to come,
yeah.
Why are you shocked?
Yeah.
It's like, I was shocked that she was shocked. What do you think this is?
You know,
Walk around naked.
You get a free pass.
Yeah.
it's so funny. It's like one of those things where in the moment she may not want that, but then the same token too, if you didn't do that, it would bother her.
Yeah.
It's like you're a lose-lose in your situation.
I don't know if it would bother her, but she thinks something was wrong.
Yes,
Okay,
it
honey.
would. Yes,
I
it
told
would.
her this because she didn't get it. She was like, what do you mean? I'm just going to take a shower. So I'm like, you know what I'm going to do? She likes brownies. I'm going to bake like a nice brownie, nice
can't
and
eat
warm. I'm just going to hold it in front of her, just wave it around her face a little bit, just walk around with it and throw it in the garbage. See how she feels about that. You know?
Why would you eat it?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, anyway. She hurt her back really bad a few days ago, actually.
Doing what?
So we have a sand, it's like a, you know what a
Sandbox?
like a sandbox, almost like a table. And she was moving it on her own, and my daughter got in her way. So she had to like move and shift and hold it for longer than she thought. So I get a call. I'm on my way to, I dropped my daughter off at school, and I'm on my way to the gym. And she calls me. She's like, I'm on the floor and I can't move. I'm like, oh crap.
Oh no.
Yeah, dude, it was pretty bad.
Oh no.
Yeah, psoas pulled, like mine, just like mine. So
That's cute.
yeah,
Sympathy
no,
pains, huh? Yeah, what's happening over there?
So cute. You guys get matching injuries.
Yeah, maybe we'll go do a driving
His
weekend
and
together.
hers.
Like you and Doug.
Don't be jealous, dude. Don't be
You
jealous.
guys drive in cars side by side, look at each other.
We hold each other hands right, right?
Little sidecar.
Would you say was it a top experience for you?
Oh, absolutely. Want to go back.
Yeah,
actually.
it was a I cannot think of something. I'm serious, like that I could say that I did that I'm like, okay, that was better or more fun. That was that. I text them the next day. I'm just like, are you still like grinning ear to ear, and was it that exhilarating? But I mean, I guess maybe because it's in our wheelhouse of something that you really like to do. Maybe. No,
it sounds awesome. Actually.
Yeah, I know. I feel like you guys would.
Did we tell the audience what we did?
Dug it.
Because I think we've talked about what we went in cars, but
the Porsche experience.
The Porsche experience.
So it's a through Porsche. Porsche has.
Now, did they try to sell you a car afterwards?
No, nothing like that.
They don't have cars to sell, I don't think.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. It's
so you literally pay, and then they take you through.
Yeah, you pay, and you have your own assigned driver or your own assigned like pro. When you get there, you log in. Mm-hmm. So back up, so the audience, Porsche experience, there's like 4 or 5 in the country. There's Birmingham, Alabama, there's New York, there's Laguna, and then there's LA, I believe, are all their places where they have, it's literally a huge, like looks like a giant Porsche dealership that has a giant regular track and then a bunch of mini tracks in between. And I'm assuming I don't know what the origin of this is, but like when you buy these cars, you have an option to purchase also the training of using the cars. They're all high-end sports cars. So the idea is like they teach you how to drive those cars, and you can choose any model you want to drive. Of course, the crazier are more expensive and stuff, and they have different things that you can do. But it's really designed to make you feel comfortable, and they have all these things where like a kick pad, which was really crazy, where you're driving the car and then you go over this, feels like a speed bump, and it's got a track shooting you the other direction. So it literally throws your back end out from underneath you, and you're on wet gravel or wet concrete.
Polished
wet concrete. So it is unbelievably slippery, and it yanks your steering wheel hard. And you got to correct it and try and keep yourself.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
so you got to figure out how to like.
Oh yeah, and you at different speeds, it's more difficult. So like speeds 10 to 20, it's really hard. If you go really slow, you got enough time to react. If you go really, really fast, it doesn't kick it hard enough. So you go about 15, 20 miles an hour, and it kicks you to where you can't even hold on to the steering if you want. It'll spin it out of your hands. And then you got to grab it. You have to know how to ride with it and then correct it without spinning all the way out. And you can do it as many times as you want. And then you had another track, which it was also polished concrete or whatever, and they have sprinklers running on it, so it's being soaked wet the whole time, and it's just doing donuts and teaching you how to do a proper donut, which like every other probably guy listening to this, like, oh yeah, this will be easy, I got this, you know what I'm saying? And it was so hard to not just spin out. I finally looked at him after, I don't know, about 10 attempts, and I go, because he was coaching me on how to do it. But I'm like, I need to see it. I'm like, can you do it? He's like, yeah, pull over real quick. He hops in. Then I watch him so effortlessly do it, but then I can see what he's doing, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Were you able to do it after?
Yeah. And then it was awesome.
That sounds fun,
just imagine, he's telling you throttle harder. And he's telling you gun and just spinning the wheels and drifting all the way around in this corner as many times as you want.
That's so sick.
Yeah, and I did that for like
that sounds cool.
10 minutes or so. And he's like, you want to keep doing it, or you want to go do something else? I'm like, well, let's get back to the racetrack. And then we're on the racetrack, and
that sounds like fun.
Yeah, and then they do a lap with you, where and they have cones around it, so they're telling you where the apex is, where to brake, where to throttle, and so you do a couple warm up laps, and you do a hot lap, and then he basically gets in his own car, and he has a walkie-talkie inside there.
That's where you're following him.
And now I'm following him. He's in a Turbo S in front of me, and he'll go as fast as you possibly can keep up, I was exhausted, I was sweating. And like I was ready to take a break when it was time to be done.
Were you wearing gloves?
No, he didn't. Although you probably could have wore gloves. I don't think they.
Yeah, you have these gloves.
I do have gloves. Ironically, I never wear those.
Yeah. Do you wear them ever when you drive?
No, it's more. It was always been a joke. It was I tried a couple times. It was actually more of a hassle because you can't text on your phone. So you can't control the radio. You can't do anything with them. So it's like it really only makes sense if it would do. I didn't think about it, Justin. That would be the place to do it. Is on a racetrack where your hands are getting sweaty and you're doing that. That would make a lot more sense to probably drive with those.
But. Earlier we were talking about gut health, and I want to mention one of our partners, Seed. I've been talking about the performance enhancing benefits of probiotics now for the last couple weeks and the strength building effect. Mm-hmm. The studies on this, I just implore people, look this up, Google it, look up probiotics and muscle strength or probiotics and athletic performance. It's pretty crazy. I think that what we're going to see here soon, because probiotics have lots of.
Does it feel like they're doing more research in that department?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think you're going to see, probably in 5 years, probiotics are going to be widely used as performance enhancement supplements. Right now, we know what the data shows is good for your skin, good for your gut health, helps with inflammation. There's some studies, lots of studies actually that show it helps with anxiety and depression in some people, but with performance and strength, probiotics. It's like a performance enhancement, which is kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
That's crazy.
So Seed, the company that we work with, I hope I know they listen to it when we talk about this. Definitely an area that I would, if I was them, I would move in that direction because this is what the data is starting to show.
I mean, it seems also, or at least for me, because I've been around you for so long, who's been battling gut stuff, and you've tried every probiotic, and so like you've talked for many, many years, just how much stronger and better shape you can get in when your gut is in great condition. So it makes sense that would affect performance.
Yeah.
If somebody's got a messed up gut.
Well, what's crazy about these studies is they're not even taking people with gut issues.
I know that's
They're
the part
normal people.
That's the part that's trippy, is that it's like
normal healthy people give them probiotic, they have better performance.
Now, do you think that, okay, so now I would be interested about that study, because is this reported? Nothing is wrong with them?
Yes.
Because because how many people are aware they have gut issues? Like we were talking about this earlier about I use
blissfully unaware.
I use my digestion as my more than I process foods. I use like how my gut feels.
Yeah,
but I'm more
healthy.
in tune.
It just says healthy.
Right.
So.
And the average person, I can't tell you how many friends of mine that work out that are we consider healthy, fit people have no idea that they have intolerances to foods and things like that. And
for sure it has to do with something like that, right? That's what I would think. But there's lots of neurotransmitters that are created by your gut and the bacteria in there.
The route I was thinking.
There's an inflammatory, systemic inflammation that can get affected. That's got to have. I'm assuming. I guarantee the central nervous system.
Yeah, I was going to say the neuromuscular recruitment process might be enhanced.
It's got to be. Yeah. It's got to be. That's what I would guess. But it's interesting. Like I'm saying, endurance, strength. There's one study I said that shows some muscle gain. So it's like, oh, this is really cool from a probiotic. Yeah, pretty cool.
What a trip.
Jolie is a filtered shower head that filters out the chlorine and other toxins out of your water so your skin and hair look much better. It's a shower head. Put it on your shower, and now it's filtered water that you wash yourself with. Go check them out. Go to jolieskinco.com. That's JolieSkinco.com/mind pump. By the way, you could try it out for yourself with free shipping. And if you don't like it, you can return it for a full refund within 60 days, no questions asked. All right, back to the show.
Our first caller is Nikki from Georgia.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi,
Hello.
Nikki.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
How you doing?
You got it. How can we help you?
So I am 41. I have been running and lifting weights since high school. The lifting has been kind of inconsistent, or it was in my 20s and 30s. I've always been consistent with my running. But about 6 or 7 years ago, I got very consistent with my weightlifting and kind of wanted to do like a body recomp. And I had kids. I was never heavy. I just wasn't as muscular as I would like to be. So I got very lean. I sent some pictures of some progress through the years. But in the whole process of building muscle, my running has really suffered, and I have slowed down a lot. I stayed lean for about a year or two, kind of did a maintenance. And then for the last 6 months, I've been doing a little bit of a build. But now I think I'm at the point where I don't want to build anymore. I just want to maintain and try to cut. But the problem is I'm so active already. Like I get 20,000 steps a day. I watch what I eat. I lift 4 days a week. I don't know what type of program to follow or where to start.
Okay, so
We try to get our running back too. But
and the goal is to get faster?
I would like to, but I don't know if it would just be taking a cut. Like if I just did a cut, if that would help. I'm not sure.
Well, no, running more is going to get you better at running.
Yeah, but you're currently running, it says here in the email too, right? You're lifting 4 days a week, 20,000 steps plus 6 miles every day?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And okay, so you do realize you're doing too much.
Yes.
I had a feeling you would say that, but I need help not doing too much. And I don't know where to start because I feel like I've been running for so long that I have like, if I quit running, my metabolism is going to freak out. and I'll gain weight. That's my fear.
The metabolism doesn't freak out. You burn less calories, but then if you strength train properly, metabolism goes in the positive direction. Okay, but I need to know what the specific goal is here because there's some conflicting goals
here.
Yeah, that you're giving me. So you're saying you want to get leaner, but you also want to get faster?
Yes.
Okay. You would need to bring your strength training down to 2 days a week.
Okay.
And start pushing the running a little bit. But I don't think you should cut your calories at the same time. I think that'll be a recipe for muscle loss.
The other option would be like MAPS 15. MAPS 15 every day, or like she does her MAPS 15, then she goes right for her run.
Yeah, that's
what
fine.
I would do MAPS.
So MAPS 15 is a daily workout, but it's only 2 lifts a day.
Yeah, and then she goes for her run.
And then you go for your run. But going on a cut at the same time is a recipe for muscle loss. So cut calories, run faster and harder, so more endurance work. The body tends to pare muscle down during that process.
She should be able to keep her calories where it's at if she picks up her running.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just do that.
I would keep your calories where they're at.
Maintain it. Yeah.
And go strength train MAPS 15 and then start pushing the speed with your runs. Do you want to get faster at 6 miles or faster at a specific distance?
I'd usually just run 6 miles and kind of keep an eye on my mile pace. So if I could just speed that up,
Yeah, that's what I would do then. MAPS 15, and then I would do that and try and improve that every time you run.
Is it 7 days a week you're running?
Yes.
So what would probably make you faster also
Sprints
is running
Less and harder.
less. So maybe 6 miles 4 days a week. And then 2 days a week, you're doing
more anaerobic
sprints or shorter distance. Like I'm going to see how fast I can run a mile. And you need at least a day off of running.
Which, by the way, too, that'll be way more muscle sparing too.
Of course.
So you'll keep more of your muscle doing it this way. You'll probably also get faster, and you won't really need to mess with your calories. You just program a little bit.
Even if I cut my running back, I don't need to mess with the calories.
You're not really cutting your running back because you're just changing what you're doing instead of this kind of probably lower steady state cardio for 6 miles. You have these 2 days, these 2 days where you're actually pushing really hard for a short distance. You're trying to get really fast at a mile, and then you're still trying to improve the other 4 days. So the other 4 days, we're trying to improve your time, your pace. So you're not just your distance might be a little less, but the intensity applied and calorie burn is going to be the same or more. So I'm not worried about that.
Just extend your warm up when you start like ramping up your velocity for sure, especially if you're not used to that. Like I would do an excess of like 10 to 15 minutes, prior to that. But I think honestly, like sprinting and incorporating that is going to do you a lot for getting faster in your mile time.
So an example would be, Monday, Tuesday, 6 miles, Wednesday off, no running, Thursday, 1 mile as fast as you can. Friday, 6 miles, Saturday, Sunday off, or Sunday, 1 mile as fast as you can if you want to add the extra run. And then do it so you'll have a day off before you do the 1 mile as fast as you can. And then the goal is not getting faster at the 6 miles initially. It's how fast can I do that mile when I get to that day?
Yeah, and then that will result.
And then that's going to carry over to the other days.
Translate.
And then MAPS 15 is it for strength training. So which is going to be
your muscles.
It's going to be a reduction in a lot of the strength training you're doing.
Where are your current calories right now?
I'm not I get 150 grams of protein every day. That's really all I track. I would guess probably around 2,200.
Okay. Yeah, don't mess with that. Just leave that. If you're hitting your protein intake, I just kind of keep eating the way you are and see what happens.
It's funny, by the way, like if you really want a simple answer to get faster, it would be to just run less. Like if you ran 5 days a week,
harder, yeah.
If you ran 5 days a week, like if you kept everything the same right now, which I don't think the advice I gave you earlier, what was saying I think would be best. But let's say you're like, I just want to keep it simple. Keep doing what you're doing. Run 5 days a week instead of 7. You'll get faster.
Yeah.
Okay.
And go harder at it.
You don't even. It'll seem silly to you because you're just going to get faster. You're like, wow, what's going on here? Because you're you're doing a lot.
Yeah.
How long have you running 6 miles a day for?
Like 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing a little too much.
So you're adaptive, but you're not progressing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to shake that.
And as I ramped up the weight training, like I started to slow down, but I've also put on muscle. So I've gained weight. So I didn't know if I was slowing down because I was carrying more muscle. So I was a little heavier, or if it was just, the volume was just high.
Both.
Sure. Yeah, it's
it's a
impacting
bit of
that.
both.
It's impacting that, but it's not because of that, right? Like
Okay.
Being a fast, being a really fast distance runner doesn't look like, it's not someone with a lot of muscle. It's a different body. Remember, your body will adapt to the signal that you send it. So in an extreme case, you could look at like, what do top marathon runners look like versus a sprinter? Vastly different bodies. So, so running, a lot of running is not pro muscle. It's pro stamina and endurance, but it's not pro muscle.
In your mind, it's probably like you're looking at a sprinter's body, as a target goal. But yeah.
Right. That's what I like. I like the sprinter body. I don't like the marathoner body.
Yeah. So we have to kind of compromise.
I think if you take our advice with the MAPS 15, the 2 days off, the two shorter sprints, I think you're going to get what you want. I think that will mitigate any muscle loss. I think you'll maintain the physique and look that you're happy with, and you'll also get better at your times.
Just so you know, when I trained competitive marathon runners, you're running 42 miles a week. They would build up to that for a period of time for a marathon, and you've been doing this nonstop.
Yeah.
So your body's in this. I mean, you're tolerating it, but you're not. Your body's not in a position to progress because you're kind of redlining everything. Is what's kind of happening, and you seem to have really good recovery and genetics. Probably an athlete in the past, or maybe you had those genetics.
Yeah, if you were able to build muscle while doing that, it's pretty impressive.
But yeah, if you did, like I said, we'll send you MAPS 15 if you don't have it.
Okay.
And then, probably 3 days of 6 miles, 2 days of 1 mile as fast as you can with a day off in between them, those, plus MAPS 15, you'll notice an improvement in your speed by week 2 or 3.
Okay.
That's how you'll know it's working.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Nikki.
I have one more quick question if you have time.
Yes, we do.
Go for it.
Totally unrelated. So my son is 14. He's going into high school. He's a quarterback, and his football coach wants him to gain 30 pounds before the season. So you're like, I know. So we started this right after Thanksgiving, and I've got him, and he also, I think he hit a growth spurt around the same time because he's put on 20 pounds.
Wow.
Hey.
But we did it very clean, like extra protein, like good calories.
Good.
Nice.
But now he's at the point where he's like, Mom, just let me eat the extra ice cream. Let me eat the milkshake. Let me just junk build. He's like, my coach said it's fine. I'll be fine. And I really don't want him to do that. So when he found out I was going to talk to you guys today, he goes, Mom, ask those guys, see what they say and how I should build.
Is he training while also eating like this?
Yes. So he lifts weights 4 or 5 days a week.
He'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll be fine.
Here's the thing, though. Now, he's young, so he's probably okay.
He'll be fine. It's so hard to put on the calories without that. When you're a kid like that and you're doing sports and you're active and he sounds like he probably already has kind of like an ectomorph or skinny body type. It's really hard.
Protein shakes only go so far too. Yeah. But that is another.
But you can do it in healthier ways. Like I have like a bulk shake that I love. That's like 1,000 calorie shake where you make something with like whole milk or put like even a scoop of ice cream. And you make Nutella, peanut butter. I mean, you can make a high calorie protein shake for him that was kind of in the middle of junk food / healthy food.
How many calories is he eating a day? Do you know?
He was right around 4,000.
Yeah, that's so hard to do,
Holy cow.
It's increased.
How much milk?
Once I start getting
over,
I start getting over 4,000 calories, I got to use like the burger and fries. I got to use the other things to keep.
Does he do like a shake before bed too?
Oh yeah, he has a shake with his lunch. He would have a protein shake after dinner.
Nikki, here's a good rule, and this has always worked really well for me and people that are like this. Is like, make him hit his good macros first, and then he can have the stuff on top of that.
Okay.
So what you don't want to do is say, cut loose, and then he puts on bad weight because now he's just eating junk and he's not getting his protein intake. He's not getting what his body needs.
Right.
But he's getting excess of calories.
How much does he weigh though?
Yeah. How tall is he? How much does he weigh?
So he's 5'10", 5'11", and when we started, he was at like 125, and he's around
my body type,
145.
Bro.
Go for it.
Because I was
that's
like,
my body type right there.
If he's already big and he's trying to get 30 pounds, he's going to be slow.
No, they want him to put on some weight before he starts playing high school football.
Sounds like
just keep up the training. Let him do that. The one rule is hit your good clean macros first, then we can enjoy the stuff after that, son.
And make sure he gets a lot of sleep. That'll make him grow.
Big
a
time.
lot of sleep, like 9 hours every night.
That's the recipe,
Yeah,
especially on the weekend.
limit the binge video games at night if he does that.
That's the hardest thing for a
Seriously.
teenage boy.
Seriously,
is to get them to sleep because they want to stay up all night.
if he's really about this and he's competitive about it and he's taking it serious, like that's
he'll gain 50% more muscle.
If he does that already, he can cut back on that. That'll make a difference.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you guys so much.
All right,
You got
Nikki.
it. Thanks for calling in. I'm glad you asked how much you weighed.
Well, I had a feeling.
5'10".
A quarter. I don't think
I
they
was a
tell.
little worried.
They don't
Yeah.
tell a quarterback to put 30 pounds
that's-
on unless he's really skinny too.
Well, you say that, but also too, you don't never know these
You're
days
right.
with some of
You
these
never know.
coaches.
But boy,
Yeah.
you'd be a really terrible
You'd be
coach if you're
stupid.
trying to put 30 pounds on a quarterback that's already like
Exactly.
180, 190. I'm like,
Just make him fast.
yeah. But I had a feeling
So
he was
slow.
really thin. If they're telling a QB, because a QB technically they
don't need to be
coach,
big.
Yeah, the coach won't tell you to
He
put.
just, needs
need
to,
to be
he just needs
athletic.
to be safe.
Yeah,
That's what we're
that's
looking
exactly
for.
right.
Protective,
They're
yeah.
like let's put a little size on this poor guy so he doesn't
Yeah, I
get,
agree.
so he doesn't
He
get
needs some
killed.
size. Yeah.
Get a good front line there, buddy.
Yeah.
But you know, she's just
She's doing a lot.
oh,
The fact that she put on muscle while doing that she just shows you she's got muscle building.
she's got good genetics.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's 42 miles a week.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that should be done in a season, not all the time.
Yeah.
You know.
Our next caller is Boris from Indiana.
What's up, Boris?
How you doing, Boris?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. How can we help you?
Well, I'm just happy that you reached out to me and allowed me to come on here. So I appreciate everything you guys talk about. I've been watching you for about 6 months. I've been lifting weights, weight training, probably about 3 years now. And I've been doing CrossFit for about a year, a little over a year. So I listening to you guys, you said to get, a gram of protein per pound. So I'm trying to get 200 grams of protein a day, which I can do. It's not too bad. I weigh 230 right now, 24% body fat, trying to get into the teens. My biggest issues are I'm never hungry, never. I can go, I have to remind myself or be told to eat. And that's my biggest obstacle. So I didn't know if you had anything to know about that to help me out with or anything like that.
Has it always been that way?
No. I work shift work, which is a challenge for, regulating the body. And I've probably been dealing with some depression for a while. My son died a couple of years ago. And so that's been a battle. And so the eating is just, I can get it down there, but it's almost disgusting to eat.
Yeah. I think with what happened, you're probably poor sleep and the fact that you do CrossFit, which is known to just kind of overdo it. That combination of stress is going to kill your appetite for sure, especially with what you went through recently with your son. That kind of stress is a natural consequence. You lose your appetite. Now, if you want to try ways of boosting your appetite, the two things I would tell you to do are to not do CrossFit, do more traditional strength training that tends
long
to
rest periods. Yeah.
that tends to stimulate the appetite, and then focus on your sleep.
Yeah, I see you were doing Athlete X's program and then you added CrossFit. You probably were better off just kind of following, because I know that Athlete X has got good programming. You're probably better off with just following something like that and backing off the CrossFit type of training and seeing with it. How is your sleep?
Sometimes I feel like I sleep too much, and sometimes I feel like I don't get any sleep. So when I'm working day shifts, I want to stay up late because my wife's up late. So I'm only getting maybe 4 to 5 hours of sleep a night. But then when I'm on the later shifts, like an afternoon shift, I can easily sleep 10 hours. Night shifts are night shifts. It doesn't matter when you sleep. It never feels like you're really sleeping.
Yeah, I'd like to see more like a MAPS 15 with walking. I feel like good walks to just create movement, kind of heal, recover. It's activity, so you're not just sitting on the couch or like that. You're moving, but you're not pushing the body so hard. and kind of going these, couple good days, couple bad days, couple good days of sleep. Like we need to be more consistent with that.
It's also normal after going through challenging times.
That's what's really hard
to overtrain because it keeps you busy. Yeah. Keeps you busy, keeps your mind occupied. It's hard to focus on other things when you're beating the crap out of yourself doing CrossFit or working out. So this would be it's gonna be a hard transition. If you followed Mass 15 and just walked, you're not gonna be distracted like you normally are.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could use that. You could do long walks and put a good podcast in, or a book and like listen. I mean, if you need us to, because let me tell you, I would be just straight up doing same shit, keeping myself busy too. I think that's but I would try and find things that are a little more recuperative for my body.
Yeah.
And growth minded. And so to me, that looks like Mass 15 type of training, which is not hard, super intense. It's just what your body needs to build some muscle. And then long walks with an audio book or my favorite podcast in my ears for an hour or two. Like
you'll build muscle that way and get stronger and you'll get leaner.
And that will hopefully result in the metabolism kicking up.
It will.
And the appetite kicking up.
It will. So what I was going to say is you want to replace the crazy workouts with something else. Mm-hmm. Not just, drop them completely. I think Adam's suggestion was good.
Okay. So you think longer walking time, and you said the Max 15.
We'll send that to you.
And that'll help the appetite come back?
Yeah. We'll send over Mass 15.
You'll just recover a lot more that way. Yeah.
And then to replace the busyness, because I'm okay with it, just we need to do less intense stuff for the busy, because you're just overstressed. Your body's overstressed with the poor sleep, and then of course what you went through. And so throwing on intense weightlifting and or CrossFit is just more than the body needs. And it's halting. I'm not going to move. I'm not going to do what it wants. I don't want to do what you want to do. So doing a training program that is less intense volume wise with a lower intensity type activity like walking is going to be really good for your body.
Yep.
And still keep you busy, because I get that. I'd want to be that too. And then just try and use that time, put something good in your ears, man. Put something that's uplifting, positive growth, whether that's reading or a favorite podcast. Do that. That's what I would do.
Okay. And then as far as the diet goes, I'm trying to get 2,500 calories a day and anything over 200 grams of protein. So I donated a kidney years ago to my daughter. Does one kidney have any issue with the protein? Like the doctors told me 20 years ago that as long as you just have a healthy life, you'll be fine. You won't even notice. But I always hear that protein's hard on the kidney.
No, it's not. So do you work with a nephrologist?
No, I don't see him anymore. I had a couple follow-ups. It's been 20 years.
Okay.
I don't see them anymore. No.
But I'm assuming you get kidney function checked on a annual basis.
Yeah, I do annual blood work. Yeah. Yes.
What happens is the kidney grows and it's able to do double the work. So you should be okay unless you're instructed by a nephrologist to reduce your protein intake. But you're fine. I think you're okay. But again, I would consult with a nephrologist. Hey, I'm going to do some blood work, but I'm going to bump my protein intake. Like to see my kidney function, just make sure it's okay. Which, like I said, you're already checking on an annual basis.
Your macros are fine for right now. I would just leave them there and be consistent with it and allow the advice that we're giving around working out to boost your appetite. So if you're still not really hungry, keep doing what you're doing, which is a good amount of calories, a good amount of protein. You can build muscle on that and be just fine. And then as you follow what we're talking about, hopefully you notice in a couple weeks, like you start to bump the appetite, and then let yourself add some calories. That's how it would look. But for now, you're fine. You're fine where the macros are. This is more mitigating some of the stress.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Boris, we're going to send that over to. Hey, yeah. You know what, Boris? Too, I'd like Doug to put you in our private forum too, so you have access to us.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna set him up with Matt. I'll set you up with Matt 15. Put you in the private forum, and then as you're going through this, you need help. We have questions. Just tag us. Write us a message in the forum and tag us, and we'll coach you through this.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you, guys.
All right, Boris. Take it easy, man.
All right, see you.
Yeah, you have something like really, really hard happen to you.
Yeah, bro.
That is a very it's not just common, it's probable.
Yeah.
You'll have radical changes in appetite. Some people it goes in the opposite direction. After the acute phase, they overeat. Other people just appetite's gone.
Yeah,
for a long
stress
time.
response.
And then on top of it, you throw tons of stress at your body. Your appetite. Oftentimes, you lose your appetite as a result of that.
Yeah.
Our next caller is Whitney from Texas.
Whitney, what's up?
What's up, Whitney?
Hey guys, I'm so excited to talk to you.
Thank you. We're excited too. How can we help you?
All right. I'll read my question. I am 30 years old, about 2 years postpartum with baby number 4. That pregnancy, I was on pretty strict bed rest practically the entire time. Since then, I've lost about 55 pounds and gained back most, if not more, muscle following your advice on reverse dieting and bulking. My body fat percentage in December via DEXA was about 33%. So I decided to go ahead and go into a deficit. I went into a deficit in January, but was not consistent. I wasn't disciplined enough with tracking, so I fell off. I've been eating 1,750 calories a day, lifting 4 times a week, and hitting all my protein goals. I'm consistently losing about 1.5 to 2 pounds a week and feel like it's something I could continue for the next couple of months. My question is, how long can I continue this cut before my metabolism slows down and I have to slowly build back up to the 2,600 calorie range that I was at? I don't want to slow my metabolism way down, but I really want to lean out and feel confident in my own skin after all 4 of my babies.
Yeah, Whitney, 4 kids. God bless
Yes.
you. And you're how far?
Yes.
How far postpartum?
My youngest just turned 2 in January, and just to update, I'm not losing 1.5 to 2 pounds a week. I think that was just the initial water weight that kind of went down. So a little update since then is I've been very, very consistent for 6 weeks. I haven't missed a day of hitting 160 grams of protein, and I was 160 pounds. I'm now 157. So I actually stopped losing weight completely, continued to get stronger at the 1,750 to 1,800 calorie range, hitting that every day. And I just now this past week, after 6 weeks of being consistent, have started to lose probably about a pound a week since that point.
Okay. And then do you know what your body fat percentage is sitting at now?
No, the last time I had it done was December and it was 33, but I've definitely I'm stronger. My clothes fit better. I can tell a difference at this point.
So the metabolism question is a tough one to answer because it's very, very individual, right? So anytime you drop your calories, your metabolism starts to adapt. Okay, that's true for anybody. That's what it's supposed to do. You'll know it stopped adapting when your body stops responding. So when it stops responding, then you have the question is, do I cut more or do I start to reverse out? Now, I would say for someone like you, 2 years postpartum, I would say once you get down to like the low 20s of body fat percentage, then I would stop worrying about trying to get leaner, try and maintain, maybe reverse. Getting below 20%, some people like that. They like the extra definition. It's much more difficult to maintain. It's unnecessary. 20 to 22% body fat looks great. It's fit. You're lean. You're healthy. You're athletic.
I mean, based off our last picture, I don't think you're far from that.
No.
You've made a tremendous progress. You sent over, I don't know what. Tell me the time frame between those 2 pictures and how long ago was the latest picture, the one that you.
Yeah, the latest one, honestly, when I sent the question over, I had not taken, that one was probably a month before I sent it, so probably February. And then that first picture was, I think I was about 2 months postpartum. And when I say like I literally couldn't get out of bed, I have really high risk pregnancies. So I had lost all of my strength, my muscle.
Sure.
And I followed your guys' stuff religiously. I wanted so badly just to lose weight because I felt so uncomfortable being that size. But I did what you guys said, and I ate a lot of protein. I did Muscle Mommy twice, a couple other of your programs. And I refused to cut because I knew that I had so much muscle to gain back. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
And look where you're at.
And look how awesome. And so I'm assuming that, so if that was back in January, you've from what you're describing, you've made even more progress since then. You're probably getting close to low 20s already.
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I think you're probably in the low 20s now. I mean, I don't see a current picture, but if you've made progress from that last picture, you look great.
Yeah.
I mean, you looking.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you could stay where you're at. until your body kind of stops responding, and then I'd start reversing again.
How do you another important question that I'd ask you is how do you feel at that calorie intake? Do you feel satisfied? Do you feel like you're having to really restrict? How does it feel?
I feel amazing actually right now. I've been really big about I'm finally like sleeping through the night, which took a while after the last baby. So I'm sleeping great. I know that y'all aren't a huge fan of 75 hard. I'm not doing it for the reason of fitness, but more so for my discipline, getting my walk every day. Still, trying to be consistent with my mobility and things. And I'm just really proud of myself for the consistency that I've had. And I have a ton of energy. I'm able to play with my kids. My mobility is way better. And I feel just a lot leaner. And I haven't noticed any energy decrease since I started.
How old are your kids? You got the 2-year-old. How old are the other ones?
4, 2, 4, and then I have 9 and almost 12. But I'm kind of like you, Sal. I had my ex-husband and I had 2 kids together, and then my current husband actually adopted my older 2 kids, and then we had 2 more together. So we have a little bit of that age gap.
Nice. Okay, so I don't chase anything too aggressively. I mean, if you just kind of keep doing what you're doing, and I would even start slowly bumping calories, you're going to be great. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't chase it. Like you said, you just started getting good sleep. Like in my experience training women who are consistent and fit, who have babies, I know what social media tells you. I know what other people say. Oh, you get back this and that. No, every single one I trained, it took 2 years before they could say, yeah, I feel like my old self again. Not a year, not 6 months. It takes like 2 years because those first 2 years is a lot of stuff that happens. So I would just cruise, and your body's going to continue to progress this entire time. I wouldn't chase anything aggressively.
She's in a place now where, like, if you were a client, I'd be talking to you about, hey, maybe we're ready for just some intuitive eating now, or just track protein and then eat when you're hungry. Yep. I don't think you need to be in this strict how many calories. It sounds like you're in a very satisfied place. If you eat healthy foods, you choose protein first and keep an eye on that, you'll probably naturally fall right where your body needs. You might have some days you hit 2,000, other days you hit 1,600, other days you go 22. You'll probably have this nice ebb and flow like that, and see where your body kind of lands. And since you're in a kind of satisfied place of calories, I'd probably be, and you're in great shape especially from where you came, I think that you're ready for something like that. Mm-hmm. Doing really good. What program are you doing right now?
So I finished Muscle Mommy, and then I kind of went back to my old hybrid style of training just a week ago. And I was actually going to ask you guys about that because I have an interest in running High Rocks Dallas in November. But my husband just finished Performance, and he really enjoyed it. And he said that I should do that instead. So
that's what I would recommend.
That's the program.
Yeah. And it's in November. Yeah. November is the race?
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Go Performance.
I'll lead you up to that.
By the way, I don't know how long you've been listening to the show or not, but that program was originally written for people that love like High Rocks and love CrossFit type training with what we think is better programming. Yep. So if you like that style, you're drawn to that. Performance is.
We just blocked it out and made it more effective.
Yeah, in our opinion, better training for that style of lifting. If you enjoy the,
the only thing I'll tell you right now to look out for, because now you're in this good place, is what might happen. Now, if you listen to what we tell you, you follow our programs, you'll be all right. But what might happen is you're going to feel good, and you're going to slowly increase the volume over time till you start overtraining, and then you're going to be training what you can tolerate, not what's ideal. This is what tends to happen with all of us who are consistent. So follow Performance. Don't try to add a bunch of crazy stuff to it. And watch your energy and your strength. Those are both great gauges. And then let me send you our intuitive eating guide. That'll help you with your diet, just kind of moving away from counting macros all the time, so you can kind of move away from all that structure.
Okay, awesome. That's awesome.
Killing it.
Good job.
Thank you, guys.
Yep.
You got it.
Thank you so much. It was so great to talk to you guys. I've listened to you guys every day for literally 5 years. My kids were so excited when I told them I was going to talk to you guys. So they're like, no way, Mom, you're going to go get to talk to them. Tell them we said hi. So
that's awesome.
Thank you.
Great job, Whitney.
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
You too.
I hope other women listen to that, because she went at postpartum and started bumping her protein and building, not trying to just lose it.
I love hearing her admit to how hard it was to take that advice, right? Because I totally get when you get there And you're like,
uncomfortable.
all I want to do is get this weight off.
Yep.
And so the natural thing is just cut calories. And that ends up being one of the worst things you could do after that. So awesome to hear that she took the advice and if that was January and she's telling us she's progressed since then, I would guess her already in the low 20s.
Probably.
If she went down to 33 when she tested, that picture was at
yeah, that looked like it was 24 or something like that. I had to guess. Yep.
Yeah, and she's in progressed since then. I would guess she's in probably mid to low 20s now. So great place.
All right, I know you liked that episode. If you did, check this one out. Shredded, ripped, defined, single-digit body fat.
Yes.
You want to get there? Let's talk about it.
Difficult. And is it worth it? That's a follow-up question.
Yeah, first off, we got to say that, okay, so single-digit body fat, obviously, body fat percentages that can be represented by one digit, like 3%, 5%, 6%, 9%. That's ripped for men. For women,
add 10%.
Yeah, exactly. You go up about